You begin your fast feeling strangely light, as if your body finally exhales after years of noise. On the second day, a dull ache settles into your lower back, subtle but difficult to ignore. Your bladder keeps sending urgent messages, forcing you to visit the bathroom again and again. You wonder if this is detox, the long-awaited purge of everything your body has been holding. But here is the paradox that catches most people off guard during the early hours of fasting. Your kidneys are not cleansing toxins. They are scrambling to adjust to a sudden internal shift. The National Institutes of Health describes this moment as a hemodynamic reshaping of circulation. Your bloodstream loses its steady stream of fuel, and insulin levels fall like a collapsing bridge. Insulin is not just a sugar signal. It is the silent steward guiding salt and water into balance. In the proximal tubule, insulin whispers the command to hold sodium close and preserve equilibrium. When fasting begins, that whisper vanishes instantly, leaving the kidney without its familiar script. This is when the floodgate opens, pushing sodium outward like a tide pulled by an unseen moon. As sodium exits, water loyally follows, slipping through the nephrons and out of your system rapidly. This phenomenon has a name confirmed in clinical physiology literature as the natriuresis of fasting. It explains the rapid weight loss during your first 48 hours, a disappearance made of water. But here is the twist. Your body is not celebrating. It is struggling to reestablish internal order. Electrolytes drift out of balance and your adrenal glands accelerate, releasing aldosterone urgently. Harvard Medical School notes that aldosterone rises to retain sodium when the body senses depletion. If fasting continues without minerals, your kidneys work harder inside an environment stripped bare. This pressure becomes a quiet burden, invisible yet persistent, demanding resources your body no longer provides. You may feel dizzy, not from weakness, but from a temporary collapse in vascular volume and sodium. You may feel tension in your lower back because your kidneys are adjusting filtration under stress. You may sense fatigue creeping in as aldosterone fights desperately to restore ancient equilibrium. This is the moment most people misunderstand, believing fasting is failing when the body is simply adapting. When fasting deepens, your metabolism quietly rewrites its priorities and shifts into an ancient state. Fat becomes the new currency and your liver begins minting ketones like emergency rations for the brain. These ketones, especially beta-hydroxybutyrate, surge through your blood with purposeful determination and clarity. Yet beneath this metabolic elegance, a silent competition ignites inside the tiny tunnels of your kidneys. Your kidneys rely on OAT transporters, narrow gates designed to escort organic acids safely into urine. Both uric acid and ketones depend on these gates, creating an unexpected rivalry for limited passage. As fasting intensifies, ketones multiply rapidly, arriving at the OAT gates in overwhelming urgent waves. The transporters prioritize ketones, recognizing their biochemical importance during prolonged nutritional scarcity. Uric acid is forced to wait at the entrance, accumulating reluctantly within the bloodstream's quiet current. This biochemical traffic jam surprises many people during fasting, especially when blood tests suddenly spike sharply. The NIH documents this mechanism clearly, noting competitive inhibition as a key driver of rising uric acid. But here is the paradox that unsettles beginners. High uric acid does not always trigger gout. The painful gout flare requires crystallization, a process demanding dehydration, low urine pH, and stagnation. If you stay hydrated, the crystals rarely form, even when uric acid temporarily climbs to higher levels. This counterintuitive truth confuses many fasters who mistake the rise for immediate metabolic danger. Your body is not producing excess purines. It is simply delaying uric acid clearance under ketone pressure. Harvard's metabolic research emphasizes that ketosis shifts renal priorities, not purine metabolism itself. However, the danger emerges when fasting becomes relentless rather than rhythmic or intentionally cycled. Practicing OMAD every single day or fasting 20 hours indefinitely keeps uric acid chronically elevated. Chronic elevation creates the conditions for crystallization, especially when urine becomes acidic during prolonged ketosis. Low pH transforms dissolved uric acid into heavy, needle-like structures capable of lodging in joints. Your kidneys detect this threat, but without rest days, they cannot open the gates wide enough. This is the real twist. Fasting is safest when pulsed, not repeated endlessly without biological recovery. Listen closely to your body. The kidneys whisper warnings long before discomfort evolves into acute problems, and the first clue is not pain, but the quiet laboratory number most people rarely pay attention to. As fasting continues, the early sodium flush gradually dries the riverbed flowing through your kidneys. Your urine becomes darker and denser, carrying the weight of a landscape stripped of gentle hydration. Inside this concentrated stream, minerals drift closer together, searching for places to settle and bind. This is where the real danger quietly emerges, unnoticed by most people embracing prolonged fasting. Calcium oxalate, the most common kidney stone on Earth, waits patiently for the right environment. It thrives when water is scarce, clustering with precision as the urinary volume drops significantly. Fasting amplifies this risk because dehydration is subtle, forming slowly between unnoticed bathroom visits. What begins as mild water loss evolves into concentrated urine capable of fostering crystalline alliances. But the story deepens further, involving a protective molecule your kidneys normally release freely. This molecule is citrate, a natural shield that binds calcium before oxalate can seize the opportunity. When citrate flows abundantly, stones struggle to form because calcium is already safely escorted away. Yet fasting, especially deep ketosis, introduces metabolic acidosis, an internal shift toward mild systemic acidity. During this state, your kidneys reclaim citrate urgently, using it to buffer the increasing acid load. This reabsorption leaves your urine nearly empty of citrate, removing the molecular guardian completely. The absence of citrate transforms your urine into a fertile ground where calcium oxalate organizes rapidly. Magnesium, another subtle defender, also declines, weakening yet another barrier against early mineral bonding. The Mayo Clinic highlights citrate as one of the strongest natural inhibitors of kidney stone formation. Without it, every drop of concentrated urine becomes a risk, even when dietary oxalate remains unchanged. Here comes the unsettling twist that few fasting guides ever mention openly or directly. Your diet during fasting is not creating the stones. The chemistry of your urine is. Oxalate crystallization depends more on urine concentration and pH than on oxalate intake alone. Ketosis lowers urinary pH, producing the acidic terrain where stones form with greater ease. A landmark study in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases confirms this risk during sustained ketosis. This is why lemon water rich in citrate is not a wellness trend, but biochemical protection. During fasting, it restores the missing guardian, and prevents calcium from joining oxalate in silence. After the turbulence of electrolyte loss and acidic shifts, something remarkable begins unfolding deep within you. Your cells, sensing the scarcity, activate ancient programs written long before modern nutrition existed. Autophagy awakens like a quiet janitor, sweeping through your tissues with purposeful, meticulous intention. The kidneys respond strongly, initiating cleanup operations inside the delicate filters that guard your bloodstream. These filters, called glomeruli, depend on podocytes, rare sentinel cells shaped like protective interlocking hands. Podocytes cannot regenerate easily. Once damaged, they seldom return with the strength they previously carried. Fasting changes this fate by silencing mTOR, the signal of growth, expansion, and metabolic excess. With mTOR quiet, AMPK rises, a biochemical alarm reminding cells to conserve, recycle, and renew internally. This shift opens the doorway for autophagy to dismantle old mitochondria and rebuild fresh, efficient replacements. Your kidneys feel this renaissance as podocytes clear debris, discarded proteins, and oxidized molecular fragments. The NIH describes this process as mitochondrial rejuvenation, the core of metabolic resilience under fasting states. But the story becomes even more extraordinary when SIRT1 enters, responding to nutritional stress with precision. SIRT1 activates protective genes that shield podocytes from oxidative injury and early programmed death. Kidney International documents this effect clearly, showing SIRT1 reducing podocyte apoptosis and structural damage. In essence, fasting transforms the kidney from a stressed filter into a self-repairing adaptive organism. As glucose drops, insulin falls, and the pressure inside glomerular capillaries gradually declines as well. This reduction lowers filtration stress, giving your kidneys a rare moment of physiological rest and relief. Many people expect fasting to weaken them, yet, inside their kidneys, an opposite transformation is happening silently. The tissue begins clearing inflammatory residues, reducing cellular swelling, and restoring filtration integrity. It is almost paradoxical, a quiet rebirth occurring in the same system previously strained by metabolic shifts. Autophagy operates like a sculptor, removing the damaged elements to reveal a stronger foundation underneath. Your kidneys, once overwhelmed by excess glucose, now enjoy a pause from constant metabolic firefighting. In this stillness, the filters regain clarity, shape, and precision as damaged proteins fade away gradually. This regenerative window is fragile, requiring balance rather than relentless fasting without thoughtful boundaries. Respecting this window is essential because healing thrives only when stress and recovery move in harmony. After the repair phase begins, many people feel invincible, convinced their kidneys can endure anything. That confidence becomes dangerous because biological stress accumulates quietly, long before symptoms appear. Fasting is a stressor, elegant, ancient, and therapeutic. Yet, undeniably, a controlled form of internal tension. Your adrenal glands, perched above each kidney, interpret fasting as a signal demanding heightened vigilance. Cortisol rises to mobilize fuel, preparing your body for prolonged scarcity as glucose continues declining. If this spike is temporary, cortisol behaves like a helpful guardian, guiding metabolism with careful balance. But chronic fasting routines, repeated without breaks, turn cortisol from ally into unrelenting internal pressure. Harvard's endocrine research shows persistent cortisol elevation disrupts insulin sensitivity, and increases vascular strain. This hormonal friction places microscopic stress on glomerular vessels, the delicate capillaries filtering your blood. Over weeks or months, this invisible tension gradually erodes the resilience of your kidney's filtration system. Your kidneys whisper warnings early, but the signs are so subtle that most people overlook them completely. You may notice afternoon fatigue that feels strangely disproportionate to your daily workload or sleep quality. You may experience mild dizziness, standing up caused by reduced volume and impaired sodium conservation. You may observe small spikes in fasting glucose, paradoxically driven by cortisol, resisting insulin's calm authority. These are red flags, biochemical signals that your fasting frequency is crossing into unsustainable territory. But some individuals face even greater risks when combining physiological fragility with aggressive fasting schedules. Anyone with an eGFR below 60 enters fasting with reduced protective capacity and heightened electrolyte sensitivity. In these individuals, small mineral shifts can trigger arrhythmias, vascular instability, or dangerous kidney stress rapidly. People with recurring kidney stones also face compounded risks as acidity and dehydration amplify crystallization easily. Those experiencing adrenal fatigue struggle even more because their cortisol regulation collapses under prolonged fasting stress. Fasting is not inherently harmful, but the wrong context transforms its benefits into disproportionate physiological strain. This is why cycling matters, giving the kidneys time to lower cortisol, rebalance minerals, and flush uric acid. Without these rest days, even moderate fasting patterns accumulate pressure that slowly erodes renal resilience. Your body thrives on rhythm, not repetition, balancing stress and recovery the way tides balance moonlight and motion. Ignoring these rhythms invites exhaustion, yet honoring them transforms fasting into a sustainable, protective practice. Fasting can feel like a powerful reset, a moment when your body finally remembers its ancient intelligence. But beneath that simplicity lies a delicate balance shaped by minerals, hormones, and your kidneys' quiet resilience. Your kidneys interpret fasting not as punishment, but as a controlled challenge requiring precise biochemical support. Just like muscles recover after lifting weights, your kidneys strengthen when stress and rest alternate rhythmically. This rhythm is the secret, the quiet architecture separating therapeutic fasting from unnecessary physiological strain. Autophagy blossoms during scarcity, yet repair requires minerals, hydration, and intentional recovery woven between fasts. Harvard nephrology research shows that water alone cannot restore balance once sodium loss begins accumulating. Without electrolytes, blood volume drops sharply, forcing aldosterone to rise and placing pressure on glomerular vessels. This hormonal tension becomes the invisible price many people accidentally pay when fasting without proper strategy. The solution isn't abandoning fasting, but practicing it with the same respect an athlete gives their training cycles. Sodium helps stabilize hydration, potassium maintains nerve rhythm, and magnesium relaxes the vascular highways within you. Citrate, simple yet powerful, prevents calcium from joining oxalate and forming crystals inside concentrated urine. Adding lemon water during fasting isn't superstition. It is kidney chemistry applied with scientific intention. These small adjustments transform fasting from guesswork into a protocol aligned with human physiology and evolution. Equally important is cycling, the act of allowing days when your body returns to normal nutrient flow. These breaks give your OAT transporters the chance to release uric acid that accumulated under ketone priority. Without cycling, even beneficial fasts accumulate hidden pressure, slowly compressing the kidney's adaptive capacity. Rhythm protects you, not rigidity, and your kidneys thrive when stress comes in waves instead of walls. When fasting respects this flow, cortisol falls, minerals stabilize, and your glomeruli regain their effortless precision. Your kidneys are not engines to be pushed endlessly. They are living tissues that require seasons of recovery. Treat them with mindful pacing, and they will reward you with clarity, filtration, strength, and metabolic stability. This is how fasting becomes sustainable, not an act of endurance, but a partnership with your cellular biology. And as with all health practices, remember that education guides you, but medical decisions need professional supervision. I hope this video was valuable to you, and I'll see you in the next one. If this exploration of the silent world of your kidneys has changed how you view the rhythms of fasting, please subscribe and like the channel. We are uncovering the biological truths that often remain hidden beneath the surface. Let us cultivate a future of true health together. The next deep dive into your body's hidden wisdom will be opening soon.